6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 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 6, 7. What's up guys? Let's break down the basic steps for kizomba. So the first step we're going to do is called a half tempo, or it's also called the basic 1. So here we're going to go and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what we're doing here is really the true essence of kizomba dancing, what I mean to say is it's a concept called jinga. So we're going to first break that down and then we're going to sort of try this together. Okay, so I'm going to face a queen and we're just facing each other and we're doing just the jinga. So what we're doing here, guys and girls together, all right, we're going to go, you bend your knees, then you straighten your knees, the hips out, and then you bring your hips forward. We have to make sure that we're not moving our chest, we're not involving our torso in this movement, right? It's just the hips. So we go, bend the knees, straighten the knees, and forward. So the counts would be and 1, and 3, and 5, and 7. Now why is it that I'm not counting 2, 4, 6, 8? Because as I said, this is the half tempo. That means you're doing it on half the speed, right? So this step is called half tempo or basic 1, all right? And we sometimes also refer to this as the Tarakshina step. So we're gonna go and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1 and 3 and 5 and 7. Now if I were to step with this, so all this what we just right now did was that we weren't stepping, we were just doing the jinga, right? So I'm going to face the camera and the queen's going to face away. So we're going to first do it like this. Girls with the right foot on 1, guys with the left foot on 1. We're going to go and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if you can see, the movement has changed a little bit. So what is the change? Earlier I was doing this. Now I'm going to face this side as well. So we were doing just the knees, straighten the knees and back. So the movement was just straight. The jinga was going just straight. Now the thing what we're doing here is when we start stepping, so say I'm going to step with the right foot for now so that we go together, and 1 and 3. So what's happening is the moment I shift my weight to my left foot to be able to step with my right foot, my hips drop to the left. And then I bend the knees, and now I'm doing the same concept from here, but now it feels like the hips are coming from the left to the center. Likewise, when I put all my weight onto my right foot and bend the knees, my hips move to the right, and then they come to the center. So left, and then right and left. This is the position of the hips, not the footwork, right? So this time I'm going to have a queen face you, and while I still face the wall. So 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8. Now it's really important to sort of know when is it that we are bending. Okay, so it's, if I were to give it counts, this is what we're doing. So we're going and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. So it's just after the even numbers. What that means is when I'm going and, so this would be 8 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. So the bending and the straightening of the knees is causing this undulation, and which is what's taking our hips out and back and forward, right? Let's try this again. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's face each other and do it. 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let's try it once again. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's really important to not add, it's not this movement, it is just from the hips, right? So right now we're exaggerating it a little bit so that it's visible. You obviously want to sort of tone it down and make it a little more natural for you when you're doing the movement. Before we proceed, I would like to sort of talk about this position that we're on. So there are a few ways in which we hold our partners. So this is the closed position or the closed embrace. Okay. Now I would suggest while you're starting off, you'd want to sort of maintain some distance so that you have some space and you can figure your footwork out. Guys, you're offering your partner your left hand like so, and girls, you're giving your right hand. Girls, you're putting your left hand on his shoulder, and guys, you're putting your right hand. Depends on how far you're standing from her. You could either put it here, you could put it here. If you're close, then your hands can go all the way across like that, or it could be here as well, right? You need to find a place where you're comfortable, right? So say I'm going to be maintaining some distance right now, and this is my closed embrace. All right, this is the closed position. This side is the open side and this side is the closed side. Okay, from here we're going to move on to the basic one, which is 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. And 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. And 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. Now I was talking about this step to be sometimes referred to as Tadakshina as well. In Tadakshina, what we do is we have the hands here, and guys, you have your hands on the hips, on the waist of your partner, or it could be here as well. Now while we're doing the Jinga, so we're going and 1. So what my hands are doing is like I'm following this movement of what our hips are doing, right? So if you go 1, 2, 3, so I kind of bring her to me, release, bring her to me, release, bring her to me, release, bring her to me, release. Of course, when I'm doing it, it's a little toned down, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can do the same thing when I'm in this closed embrace as well. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. And 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. This step surely does require a lot of practice, guys. It may look really simple when you just watch us do it like that, but guys, the problem that you will face in this step is when to bend. Okay, so when you're doing this and just before stepping, you're going 1. So just before you step, you bend, and then you press to straighten up on the counts, right? So and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8, right? So you don't want to go 1, 2 and 3, 4. You don't want to bend while you're stepping, right? So you bend before and you start straightening up as you step. You may find the hip movement a little weird for you in the beginning, but it's important that you also are moving your hips, because she's really following what you are doing, what your body is doing. Okay, So if you're not moving your hips, she would of course still move her hips. But then there are a lot of movements later on that you really want to sort of, for example, like if we have Tarakshina, another variation where we go 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3. Stroke this way and 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3. Now, in this step, my hips are doing exactly what my partner's hips are doing as well. Okay, so if I were to do this way, I'm going 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 5. Of course, guys, it's not easy. Okay, when you're starting off, don't get so bogged down by the hip movement. Don't worry so much about the undulation as well. You need to make sure that you're doing this eventually and you're consciously trying to make the effort to sort of add this movement for the Jinga for you as well. And initially you could just start off doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Means what you're doing is you're just shifting weight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For the guys, I can imagine it being a little tougher for you. Girls, of course, you could start off like this, just shifting weight, but then you need to practice the Jinga, which was this movement where we go knees bend, straighten, hips forward. Knees bend. While you straighten your hips go out. While you straighten your knees, your hips go out, right? So when you bend your knees, you straighten your knees, your hips go out, and then you bring your hips forward. So and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7, 8. This exercise is really so important because this is sets the foundation for all the steps that you do in Kizomba. It's really helpful to use the Jinga to give it the real Kizomba feel. Of course, we could also use something that we use which is referred to as contrary body motion. So we're doing that just with the hips when we walk. But then you need to get the Jinga. It's really important if you're dancing Kizomba to really practice the Jinga, this first drill that we showed you, and you're going to be doing a half tempo really well. So that was the basic 1 or the half tempo for you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 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 5, 6, 7. Okay guys, let's break down the basic 2 or the side step. So we did and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now let's do our individual footwork for this. So I'm going to face you guys and Equin's going to face the wall, and we're going to do the basic 2 or the side basic step. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if we were to do just the step without any embellishments of sorts, this is how it look. We just go step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. In this, I could add a little bit of the undulation that we're doing earlier. Step, touch, step, touch, step, touch, step, touch. Now we don't want to show too much change in the levels while we're dancing, just a little bit. But when we do the bending and shaking of the knees, it directly impacts what the hips are doing. So that's why we're doing that. So we're going and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now without footwork, this is what we're doing with the knees. We face each other and we go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Now with the hips, this is, guys, for you to practice. This is not necessary that you do it just in your first attempt to Kizomba, but you want to build your basic step needs to be getting richer and richer in the feel and the flavor of the dance, and you do that over a period of time. So this is for you to practice. I don't expect you to do it just straight away. So we're going and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I go in the regular timing, 1 and 3 and 5 and 7, 8. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. While we're doing this, guys, so I'm going to the left with my left foot and Equin's going to the right with her right foot. So we're going 1. So at this point, my hips go back, and then the direction that I'm moving, my hips draws a circle in that direction. That means when I go to the left and I do the touch, my hips go from the left to the right and ends on the left side. And then when I go to the right, my hips go back first, and then as I do the touch, it goes from the right to the left. Okay, so we're going 1 and 3 and 5 and 7. Now, because we're doing the side to side lateral movement, my hips, when it goes back on the 1, so it looks more like and 1. It comes from the right to the back, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so keeping the hips on the back as I step on the counts helps me shift my weight as I step. Okay, so the important thing about this step is the first step where I'm actually moving. Okay, the half tempo that we did before this, the basic one, was a step in place where we're just shifting weight from one foot to the other in place. Now we're actually moving. So as I do this, I have to make sure that when I move, I put all my weight onto that foot on that count. On the count of 1, I move to the left and Equine moves to her right. So all my weight goes there to that foot that I just moved. I don't want to be somewhere like 1 or even 1 where 50% of my weight is here and 50 is on the other leg. We're moving with all our weight to the side. Now when I do this touch, it's just me giving like a 20% of my weight just to assist this movement. Now whether I do the circle with my hips or not, it's still just giving like about 20% or 30% of my weight onto that foot, right? And I don't do step, touch, like a tap without any weight at all. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now guys, when you're leading your partner into this, while you're practicing this, you need to be a little mindful. This is for the girls and for the guys as well. You need to be a little mindful about this. Always try and think of, just be conscious about the foot that you're pushing off from rather than the foot that you're stepping with. Okay? Now what I mean to say is that as I'm starting the step, I need to move to the side. That's half the deal. What I need to do is I need to make my partner move to the side with me. Same thing for the girls. When you're moving to the side, it's not you doing it by yourself. You're responding to something that your partner is making you do. So to be really 100% secure in this step, I go and put all my weight onto, guys, your right foot, girls, your left foot, and press from that foot to push off that foot to help you change weight. All right. So my focus is a lot on the foot that I'm pushing off from as well. Push, touch. Now I'm going to, guys, now on 2 you're pushing, on 3 you're pushing off from your left foot, and girls your right foot. 3, 4, and then 5, 6, and then 7, 8. So think about the push, the foot that you're pushing off from, rather than just stepping and thinking about the foot that you're stepping on with. So we're in the closed position, the closed embrace. 5, 6, 7, and I give a slight plie, which is a slight bend of my knee, and I push off to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I am not doing this, I'm not taking a big step to the side. It's just a small step. Give it the counts, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you're doing the Jenga, or when you're doing any movement, you need to make sure that your hips are sort of in the neutral position. They're not out and they're not tucked in. They're in the neutral position. So when you're doing body movements, it sort of shows. You're not trying very hard, because if your hips are already out, then when you're doing a Jenga, it's going to look really like you're trying too hard. Okay? So hips, you want to sort of do this against the mirror and see what your neutral position of the hips would be. If you see the position of my belt, if my hips are out too much, the line of my belt is going down. So I want to try and keep it a little, maybe not completely parallel, because if I keep it completely parallel, I'm really tucking it in too much. Okay? So maybe just somewhere in, just below the parallel line. Okay? So if you're like this, that means you're hyper extending your lower back. You want to sort of get your hips a little in. Okay? And then you see, if you tuck it in more, that means, okay, there is room to move forward. You would be somewhere here where there's room to move back, and there's room to move forward as well. So when we're doing the Jenga, there's room to move forward and back, right? Likewise, when I'm doing the side step, so I need to make sure that my hips are not already out, right? They're in the neutral position. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another thing, as we're doing the partner work, we need to make sure that we don't go 1. So we're not going 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot move your torso in this lateral position. Okay? So you're trying to keep your spine straight, and you're pushing off from your foot, and your hips move because of the undulation that's being caused by your straightening and the bending of the knees, but you're not moving your torso like so. Okay? So when I go into a basic 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if you watch Equine, her back is straight as she steps to the side, and we're trying to not go like, we're not trying to do that, okay? Because if I do this, it gives me the false understanding that I'm transferring my weight, but my weight is primarily still on that other foot. Okay, so we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to make sure we're not moving our torso like this. Okay, let's do it from the back. 1, 2. Now guys, you could either just have this movement where you're causing the undulation, and this will hopefully cause a movement for your partner's hips, on her hips, whereas you may not be moving so much. Or you could also do the exact same thing as what she is doing. Just bearing in mind that your movement cannot be so laborious that it's making your body shake a bit, and hence your partner feels that as well. This is the same thing for the girls as well. When you're doing this movement, it has to be not felt by the partner on his chest especially, right? And maintaining whichever hold, depending on how close or far I am. I could be here. The thing is, when I'm dancing close, if I just move, she's most probably going to move with me as long as I'm connected with this arm. So I take her with me. Now if I'm dancing, maintaining some distance, I need to make sure that I have some connection over here on this side, on the closed side. Now I don't necessarily need to dance like this. You can keep your arm in a more relaxed position with the elbow slightly down. Girls, you want to sort of feel connected from this side, like you're receiving something from here, from here, from here, from here, and you're conscious about that. Okay, so I'm not here, I'm a little more relaxed with my hand here, and when I step to the side, I make sure that she feels this connection and that I'm taking her with me. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all I'm doing is I'm staying connected, guys. I'm not pushing her to the side, because if I push her to the side, this is exactly what would happen, as what Equine did. You're gonna dissociate her upper body from lower body. So you're just using this to stay connected and not to push, right? Okay guys, that was the basic 2 for you. Have fun with it. I'll see you in the next video. And 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 5, 6, 7 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and then half tempo, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so sometimes when I count, guys, I would do it like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But that's when I count the half tempo like 1, 2, that's not the timing, that's just the number of steps I'm taking. That means one step and the second step. The timing would be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it could be 5, 6, 7, 8. So in this step, this is the actual counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here I just counted from 1 to 8 non-stop and then went back to the next one I stepped forward and back twice and then I did the half tempo. Now I'm going to turn around. Now I want you to see how I'm giving a slight rotation of my torso while I'm doing the basic step. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. So all I'm doing, guys, is 1, 2, 3. So let's try it facing each other. So I'm going without any footwork. This is what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a concept called dissociation. I'll explain this a little more detail in the Saidas. So right now we're just focusing on rotating our torso. Alright, so let's try the basic 3 from this angle. So we're in the closed embrace, guys, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now, one thing you need to really bear in mind for the guys, we need to be sure about where our weight is when we're standing. And I'm not talking about which foot really, of course, that's how you're that's how you're creating movement when you're dancing. But when I'm standing, am I on my heels, or am I on my toes, or am I on the ball of my feet, or am I in the middle? Now, everyone has a different theory about this, guys. So I began dancing keeping all my weight on the ball of my feet. But I realized that after hours of dancing that my calves would be killing me. And I'm constantly being on the ball of my feet. I started getting very stiff calves after extended hours of dancing. And however, I did feel that I was very agile and I could use my feet quite well. What I started doing is that I started shifting my weight a little back. Now, if I stand relaxed, I feel that all my weight is on my heels. Now, while that is a very comfortable position for me to be in, it made me not it doesn't keep me so active. So if I just push my weight a little in front, but not really to the ball of the feet, it's somewhere, say, at the where my heel begins. Say, you could probably call it this mid section, okay? But still tending towards my heel. It helps me stay grounded, and it helps me to sort of really move my hips if I want to, and especially for the girls as well. You know, now girls, because you're wearing heels, you may be wearing flats as well, right? But if you're wearing heels, it automatically keeps your weight a little forward. Now don't try and go further from there, you know, because then again, you know, you need to think about years of dancing and hours of dancing, right? So unless you go back home and you really stretch your calves out a lot every day, you want to be you want to be a little careful, okay? So because you're wearing heels, you're already being pushed forward a bit. So don't go beyond that, all right? Try and be in a comfortable position, because you need to be really careful about your axis so that you can be moving your hips. If you're always here, you're going to be relying too much on your partner to be giving you support to move your hips, and it feels like your hips are already extended out, thereby maybe over exaggerating the Jinga and making you feel a little restricted. So if you're on your axis and maybe not on the heels, but just like I said, a little in front, then you're in total control of your hip movement and your feet as well. You're in good control of your footwork as well. So you're not, because when you're dancing together, it's a communication between you and your partner. So you need to bring in your personality and I bring in my personality, and we try and communicate together. It's not just the man leading the girl in 2 steps and steps and steps, and the only role the girl has to do Jinga. So we need to be standing think about your comfortable position where you're in the heels, but then we just move a little forward to the midsection of my feet. And that's where I'm standing. Moving on, I need to indicate to her that I'm stepping forward. Now, I don't want to go like this. 1. So what is it that I'm doing here wrong, guys? My foot has gone, but my body hasn't gone. So we're dancing up here. She doesn't even know what my foot is doing. All she felt was the weight shift to my right foot. So I need to make sure that this section is transferring the signal, transferring the energy of the movement. Okay? That means when I step forward, I don't leave my chest behind. I step 1. Right? Now this doesn't mean that I just overdo it from my chest, of course, right? But I need to give her some signal. It's like if we were to really slow the movement down, I feel that she might be stepping slightly before me. All right? So that's because I'm giving her my intention of where I'm going. I'm giving her the intention of me stepping forward and hence her stepping back, right? So it comes from my chest, guys. I go and 1, 2, 3. At 3, I control the energy. No more going forward, right? I'm on the midsection of my feet, and hopefully my partner is there as well. And then now I start pushing back. 1, 2, 3. Right? And I try and collect my feet on the 3 of each count. So once again, so let's do it this way. Here it may be a little more visible. So I'm going to go and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. When you're stepping back, of course, guys, you need to be sure and that you're really well connected from the arm at the back, because you're asking her to suddenly come forward and you're changing directions while you're stepping back. Use your feet to press on the floor to help you go back. 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Notice how my basic 3 is not like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, there's no pause in the middle. That means it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So guys, let's do it from this side. And 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. From here, and 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And remember the counts. If you're talking about the timing, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright? Okay guys, that was the basic 3 for you. Have fun with this step. You're going to use it all the time. So make sure you've practiced this well enough, and I'll see you in the next video.